What's up, guys? Paul here from Paul's Game and Fish, bringing you a more detailed view of the Magicka Nightblade tank. This is going to cover everything that the build video has covered. It's also going to get into a lot of why a particular skill was taken, why a passive was taken, a few alternatives that you can do for gear, skills, setup, rotation. If you want the quick video, the link will be in the description down below. I'm also going to put, probably right about now, a link in the upper right hand corner. If you want to click that, that would also take you to the quick video as well. But if you're new to Nightblade tanking, or if you just want to know more of the in-depth mechanics of why you take what within this build, this would definitely be the video to watch for you. Now, we are here in Grotwood. It might get dark pretty soon, and my Argonian is kind of blacked out in the armor right now, so if it gets dark, I do apologize. We'll see if we can put on a dress or light us a campfire. See what we can do to lighten this video up just a little bit. So getting right into it, we're going to start with the skills. The traits on those skills, the enchantments, or excuse me, the armor. We're doing Sword and Board on the front bar, Ice Staff on the back bar. Let me take care of some ads right here real quick. They decided they wanted to ambush my stream. What's up, guys? Yep. See if I can move a little bit out of the way right here so if I don't proc them on the respawn, because we'll be here for a little bit. Alright. Sword and Board on the front bar. This is going to be our main tank bar. You're going to do all your work on this bar. I'm doing defending and I'm doing reinforced because I want to make sure that no matter what I'm doing, I am always above the armor cap. I'm doing the enchantment, that's Crusher. It's going to break the enemy's armor for 1500. This isn't just for you, this is for your team. So you're going to see about a 2% damage increase for your team. So this is kind of a must for tanks on the front bar. Shield, I'm doing reinforced. Another option that you could do is sturdy. I chose reinforced just because the extra armor, I kind of feel that I want to be above that cap, but it's only a small amount of armor, so if you went with sturdy, you could notice a difference in your playstyle as well. Back bar is a defending ice staff. It's going to give us about 5,000 armor, so you're not going to notice too much of a difference on your character. So if I'm buffed, on my back bar, I'm at 32,000 resistances. On my front bar, I'm at almost 33,000 resistances. So on my back bar, I am 500 under cap, but 500 is about 0.7% damage, and it's not going to bother me that much at all. Now I am running the shield enchantment. Couple that with the shield that we're going to be casting later and the shield you get from an Ice Staff heavy attack, you're going to be running about 18k shields on your back bar. Right now, my monster pieces I'm currently using Pirate Skeleton because they both give me physical and spell resist. This way I'm passively, no matter what, no procs, no matter what, I'm always above armor cap. You could, if you want some more effect in your playstyle, you could go with 2-piece Bloodspawn. When it procs, that does put you above armor cap. In addition, it allows you to get your ultimate off faster. The stamina recovery on it isn't really going to help you, but who cares about that? You could also do 2-piece Pirate Skeleton. It's going to get you near cap because of the 1-piece, but also, whenever the set procs, it's going to reduce the damage that you take massively. You're going to receive a little bit less healing, but that is nothing to worry about. This also stacks with being a vampire, so you're taking 30% less damage, and then if you drop below a certain point of health, you're taking another 33% less damage. So 63% less damage you're taking if you're at low health while this procs. You're not going to die when this procs. It's going to keep you up. Your healer's not going to have a hard time healing you because you are Argonian. It's not going to bother you at all. So I am running 2 light because this build does run 5 heavy, 2 light because the Magicka cost reduction and the Magicka recovery is something that I did want to incorporate into this build. You would probably want to run a waist and shoulder light or waist and gloves light. Waist and shoulder actually. Waist and shoulder light. This way here, your light pieces are the absolute minimum as your armor contributors. While it allows your head, which is a big piece, it will contribute a lot more armor to you. if you want to attempt to min-max stuff like that. Now, I am running on all of my body, I'm running sturdy, and everything is enchanted with Magicka. So sturdy, because they did change our block cost to every quarter of a second instead of half of a second. So this is kind of a must right now if you want to block for large periods of time. The max Magicka is because almost all of your skills are magic based. You're going to want to boost their healing, boost their damage. Not really caring about the damage, but your damage does help with your healing as well. We'll get into that. And also boost your damage shield. So max Magicka is a must for this build. My jewelry, it's all healthy. 2-piece recovery, 1 block cost reduction. You could go with a second block cost reduction, which will make a massive difference in the amount of time that you can block. Because right now it's costing me around 500 to block. But if you went with a second piece, or even if you went with the third piece, if you went with 3 pieces of block cost reduction, your block is going to be about 88 to 100. Your recovery is going to suffer, but you can block a lot more. So it's going to put you in a more passive playstyle to where you're just blocking and not necessarily casting as much. Now I am running 5-piece Plague Doctor. This is going to give me a lot of health, and a healing taken. So that's going to help with stack with your natural Argonian passives, where you're increasing your healing received, and then also the skill you have on your front bar, which increases your healing received as well. There are a few other options with this, but I tend to find that Plague Doctor works the best because it doesn't rely on having a food up. Plus, the set that does need your food up gives you health recovery. It is a vampire health recovery is garbage. We're running 5-piece Seducer. This is going to give you a bunch of recovery, some magic, and reduce the cost of your abilities, Magicka abilities by 8%. That's the bread and butter of this also. So I got 1 tanking set, 1 recovery set. And this tends to work out with any build that you make. You kind of don't want to run double recovery, or excuse me, double damage sets right now. You run 1 sustain set, 1 damage set, or 1 sustain set, 1 tank set, however. And that really does help you out on that. Getting into the skills, which I see the easiest way that I'm going to be able to go down with this. I'm just going to start with the top of my skill tree and work my way down, because if I were to go across the skill bar, I'm going to be going back and forth between passives, and it's just going to draw this out a little bit. So on the assassination tree, we gone with Mirage. The reason why you went with Mirage is because it's going to give you the additional 1300 armor for 26 seconds. It's a large buff, long buff. And 15% dodge chance. When you're fighting adds, this really adds up. It's going to take a lot of the damage off of you. The only passes you're going to care about in this tree is going to increase your weapon critical by 438 with an assassination ability slotted, which is going to be on our back bar. So it's going to let our heal from the refreshing path bar back there, and also the ice wall. It's going to let that crit a little bit more. It's not necessary. It's not like we care about that too much. Then we're going to have Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is pretty cool. It increases your critical damage done by 10%, which is okay. But dealing critical damage grants your group members minor savagery. So this is pretty cool. So you're giving your group a little bit of weapon crit right here. You don't need Master Assassin because it doesn't play in this, and you're not killing anybody with a assassination ability, so this is not needed. Shadow. We're using the ultimate of Bolstering Darkness. It's going to give us 3% ultimate on our bar while we have it slotted. You're going to slow down the enemy's movement speeds, so you can actually cast this on a heavy ad phase if you want. But it's also going to reduce your damage taken by 60% and reduce your party's damage taken by 30%. So everybody could just jump in, and this would really help out. Also, if they are low health, they can activate your ultimate, and they can restore 20k over 4 seconds. I like this a lot. My group does use the ultimate. I do like the damage reduction of this, and I do like the health that I get for having it on my bar. You could also run Aggressive Warhorn. Let's see if I have the ability purchased. So Aggressive Warhorn is still going to be a costly ultimate, but it does last for quite some time. It's going to increase your party's maximum stats by 10%. And it's also going to allow for 9 seconds you do 15% more critical damage done. So if you're running with a lot of high damage builds, or if you're in a trial, or if you're trying to do a speed run, if you have a good healer, and if you have a good group that knows how to stay alive, know how to watch out for red on the ground, this would be a better ultimate to run in this place. It does bring your health down just a tad though, but nothing really to be concerned about. So aggressive Warhorn would be a good replacement there. I wouldn't want to run Shield Wall. The ultimate is pretty cheap, but we don't get a benefit for casting ultimates with this build. So running this would kind of be a little frustrating, considering that we can just cast something, because this is going to give you, well, if it were fully buffed, it'll give me 7 seconds of being able to block everything, while Bolstering Darkness would give me 17 seconds of 60% reduced damage. I tend to find that the Bolstering Darkness would be a little bit better. Continuing on in the Shadow Tree, we have Refreshing Path. It's going to deal 800 damage every second, which that would help stack with one of your other abilities, which we'll get to in a little bit. But while on the path, and for you and your allies, they're going to heal for almost 1,000 every second, and they're also going to get Major Expedition. So this allows, if you keep this on the boss, you keep this directed toward your party, you're going to be constantly damaging. And also your guys are going to be healing, but when the boss drops down red, or if he drops down a heavy attack, they have Major Expedition, so it's very easy for them to run and move out of the way. So by giving your guys Major Expedition at all times, this is really going to change the survivability of some mechanics. Especially on stuff where it's a very large AoE, it's a one-hit AoE, and your guys really need to get out. They can, if they don't have the stamina, they can just really run out of it. We're using Dark Shades. It's going to be up for almost 21 seconds. The Shades are hitting for almost 1k each, and they're going to do Minor Maim. So we're not going to use the other one that teleports, because we don't need to teleport. You don't need to have the boss just chasing you all over the place. It could be good on some mechanics, but that would be very, very situational to teleport out of a mechanic. So with this one right here, it does keep Minor Maim on whatever you're fighting at all times, because they are always out there running around like roaches attacking things. Now getting into why we're using that also, we're going to have Refreshing Path, or excuse me, Refreshing Shadows. Increases your recoveries by 15%. This is just awesome. I think it's a really great passive. Shadow Barrier. Whenever you cast a shadow ability, this is going to give you a very large, this is going to give you your major spell resist and your major armor. So let's see how long we're getting out of this. You're getting 13 seconds. It could be about 14, but you're getting, looks like 13 seconds of your major armor for casting a shadow ability. And that's just for casting the ability. So it's a free passive to you. Doesn't matter which ability you cast, whether it be Refreshing Path or whether it be your Shades, you're going to get that bonus. Also your ultimate. Your ultimate will give you that bonus as well. Dark Vigor increases your max health by 3% for every shadow ability slotted. So we're going to have 6% additional health on this bar, 3% additional health on this bar. The health above backboard doesn't really matter too much. I'm okay with that. Dark Deal increases the duration of your shadow abilities by 15%. That's just a cool little buff for you. Doesn't really help out too much as far as tanking. Do apologize if it sounded a little bit nasally. I just woke up and I wanted to get this video out here kind of quick. Alright, Soul Siphon. I'm using this on my back bar. I'm using this if there is a emergency situation. I don't have my big ultimate up yet. My team is starting to go down, or my healer needs help, or I need to pop a heal on somebody that's, you know, about dead. They're trying to rest somebody. However, it's going to heal for 8k and heal for another 22k over 3.5 seconds. Now also, they're going to receive Major Vitality, increasing their healing received by 30% for 4 seconds. So it's going to hit for the, now that 24 or 22k, excuse me, is going to be a hell of a lot harder actually than what it says, because it's going to hit you for the 8k, but then you're going to get Major Vitality. So now that 22k is going to be affected by that 30% increase. So that's my mic. You can tell I just woke up. So this is going to affect that heal in addition to your shadow, your refreshing path, in addition to your own self heal buff, a swallow soul. Your ultimate is going to help you with that. So this has saved me and it has saved the group so many times. And if they want a bit more, they can also activate your ultimate again to get another 6k health on top of that. So no matter what, no matter who they are, no matter how much health they have or what situation it is, this ultimate will keep somebody alive because you're healing for a big chunk. You know, what do you got? 7.5 plus 6. You know, you're healing for a hell of a lot of health right there on its own. And then another 20k? That's ridiculous. Swallow Soul. This is your main spammable ability. So it's going to do 4.1k of damage, which is pretty cool. But it's going to give you 30% health. Or it's going to give you the amount of damage that you do. It's going to give you 30% of that every 2 seconds back as health. And then while slotted, you're going to get 8%. So that's kind of large. I just hit those ads. Yep. Come on, buddy. Go ahead and get knocked out. So with all of your walls down, you have your ice wall. You got your refreshing path. Then you have your 4.2k right here coming from the attack itself, and then if you were to light attack, that's like another 1500 from your light attack. That's a lot of health coming back to you just for this buff right here. Are they going to fight him? It does not look like they, or her. They're not going to fight her. They've tried a few times to pull her up here to try to get me to tank her, but that comes later. Alright, once again, I do apologize if I sound nasally. It's just starting to make me feel aggravated this morning. Okay, Leeching Strikes. This ability right here is awesome. Really awesome. So it's going to give your light attacks and heavy attacks. It's going to give you 1800 health every time you hit this. That's ridiculous. You can literally sit there and spam light attacks to just 2k, 2k, 2k. And this does crit. This can crit for you. I've been critting for this for like 3600 or so health. It's kind of funny. And it gives you 1000 stamina every time that you light attack. Also, which we don't, or 100. I wish you give 1000. It gives you 100 stamina every time you light attack. That's whatever. Now also, when this effect ends, it's going to give you 4200 stamina. So on your boss bar, you're able to, if you have to, you can have this ability up and you can block. And by the time your bar gets down to about 40%, this ability is going to proc. And it's going to put you back up again. This is what gives you the ability to perma block. Now you can't perma block ads the way that you used to anymore, but it is 100% easy to perma block on a boss. It does not bother you one bit. Sap Essence. I use this as a swap out skill. So we haven't gotten into our back bar yet, but just to show you what you can swap it out for. If your team has a good healer, or if you're in a dungeon that requires a lot of ad control, Blockade of Frost is going to be the skill that you're wanting to go with. You're not going to need to heal from Sap Essence because you're healing so much more on your own, and the healer can take care of your group for you. So Blockade of Frost is going to do good damage, and it's also going to slow the enemy by 60% that's in it. Also has an ability to affect them with the shield status, which will immobilize them. So this is a great crowd control ability. But if your healer is subpar, or if they're just taking a good chunk of damage, you could run Sap Essence. Now the heal on it, it really works best when you're fighting with the large groups, because if you're only fighting a singular target, such as a boss, the 1300 health, well, it'll be about 20% more. So what is that, 130, so 260, so about 15 to 1600 health. It's going to heal you and your allies for. Not really the best heal that's going out. But if you're fighting, five people, five, six people, this is really going to make it. Hell, if you're fighting 10 people, this is going to make a big difference right here. This puts out a lot of healing, and it allows you to take pressure off of your healer as well. But like I said, if you got a good healer, don't run it. You don't need it. But if you got a under level 50 healer or a brand new healer, if you're trying to run for keys or whatever, this does make a difference for you. Catalyst, drinking a potion is going to give you 20 ultimate. It's ridiculous. And you're always popping potions with this build just because you're an Argonian. Which we'll talk about that in a little bit, but 20 ultimate, hell yes. For having a siphoning ability slotted, you're going to get 8% max Magicka. So we have a siphoning ability on our back bar, and we have a siphoning ability on our front bar. Increasing our healing done by 3% for each siphoning ability slotted. So we're going to get 3% healing done on our back bar, and we're going to get 6% healing done on our front bar. Now, you could swap things around, which we'll get to that in just a second. Actually, let's get to it now. So, I have Leeching Strikes, which obviously is a siphoning ability. You could put this on your back bar, bring your shield to your front bar, and that would allow your ultimate on your back bar to heal for a lot more. Now, this would change your playstyle just a little bit, because now that you have your Leeching Strikes on your front bar, or excuse me, Leeching Strikes on your back bar, so while you're blocking, if you need stamina back, you could pop your shield, go into a heavy attack, block, pop your shield, go into a heavy attack. So after the animation is done, your Magickas came back. Now you got your stamina back for the cost of block. So it's a really good way to actively reduce your damage taken. See if I can show you on these guys right here. So we'll block, shield, heavy attack, shield, heavy attack. Alright, I seem to be having a little bit of trouble right here. Let me see if I can adjust that. So in those fights where you just don't want to let go of block, this is what's going to help you out right here. So that's really something that you want to use on a boss fight. It's going to be garbage fighting trash. But on a boss fight, that does make a difference for you. But it does require you to go back to your back bar to cast your buff for your stamina. But this does take away from your ability to control ads for a little bit. But we'll get more into detail on the rotation in just a little bit, though. I just wanted to show you why you would do that, to get the additional healing for your ultimate here on the back bar. So we're still in the siphoning tree. Now, every time you cast a siphoning ability, you're going to generate 2 ultimate. This occurs every 4 seconds. So, like I said, your main ability, your main spammable ability, which is Swallow Soul, this right here is going to be generating you ultimate also. So this is a pretty powerful little skill. It's going to do okay damage. You're going to heal. It's going to give you major or minor vitality. And it's also going to give you ultimate for casting this. Pretty awesome. Getting into the one-handed shield, we are using Pierce Armor. This is your main taunt. It's also going to break the enemy's armor. That's pretty much it. Low Slash, I'm still toying around with this, but it's not something that I'm interested in. Absorb Magic. This is on your bar solely for the purpose of reducing the cost of your block by 8% and increasing the amount of damage you can block by 8%. That's the only reason it's on your bar. There are some boss fights though where they are casting spell projectiles at you, In which case this would give you a 17k damage shield, and it also absorbs that amount, and then it will heal you for 18% of your maximum health. So to show you how big that shield is, that is a pretty large shield. It's just a little bit over half of your health as a shield, and it's a stamina ability. So you could stack them and have almost your entire health bar as a shield. Passives just take everything on their sort of board. What really matters, Fortress is going to reduce the cost of your blocking by 36%. Sword and Board is going to increase the amount of damage you can block by 20%. Deflect Bolts increases the damage that you can take from, or increases the damage that you can block from projectiles by 15%, and then increases your movement speed while blocking. On the Destruction Staff, we're going to use Elemental Blockade. It's going to do 1,000 damage a second, and then while it's up, it's going to reduce the enemy's movement speed by 60%. And then if they become chilled from being affected by an ice ability, they are immobilized for 4 seconds. Really great ad control right here. This can stop shit from just moving around on you. Elemental Drain. It's a free ability, but it's an overpowered ability. We don't care about the Major Breach because our Taunt is going to do that for us. Our Pierce Armor. But what this does, as long as your allies are damaging that particular enemy, they're going to get 300 Magicka a second. So that equates to 600 Magicka recovery. That is awesome in this new update. So you're really counteracting what's happening. You're giving your guys free 600 Magicka recovery. It's amazing. Passives you're going to want to take. Tri-Focus, your fully charged heavy frost attacks are going to taunt the enemy and give you a 2700 damage shield. Elemental Force, it's going to allow your light and heavy attacks to affect them with the shield bonus, or shield debuff, excuse me, which would stack also with your Blockade of Frost, which if they are chilled while they're in it, they're going to become immobilized. That does stack with you on that. Ancient Knowledge. This is going to let your Ice Staff reduce the cost of blocking and increase the amount of damage that you can block by 20%. So another thing that you could do, if you are in a block heavy fight, you can block on your shield bar. Just do what you can to stay alive. Let that stamina run out. Oh well, who cares? Switch to your back bar. Now you're blocking with magic. Your stamina is going back up. Your magic goes down. Switch it back over. And I actually tested it with the recoveries that I got. This actually does work. The stamina will actually reach 0. You'll switch to your magic bar. Your magic will reach about 30% and your stamina is back at 100. And then when your stamina is back down to 0, your magic is back at 100. So it is possible to infinitely go back and forth. I hope I didn't just do that. No, 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 no. Come on, you guys. I don't want to fight that lady just yet. I'm not fighting you. Come on, go back home. We'll fight you in a little bit, lady. Okay. This is what happens when I look all around willy-nilly. Now you can obviously tell that this is not scripted. This is just me doing it off the fly. So back in the Destruction Staff. Also, if you kill somebody with a Destruction Staff ability, which could also be a light attack for some reason would proc this, you restore 3600 Magicka. So keeping Blockade of Frost down in a pool of ads where your guys do work on them, if you get the last tick, 3600 Magicka. That's plain and simple, awesome as hell. Light Armor, we chose Dampened Magic. It's going to give us a 10k shield for 6 seconds, and my Light Armor is going to increase it. So I am using 2 pieces of light armor, so it's going to make the shield 10% stronger than if I were to choose the other morph that absorbs magic and gives me back Magicka, because not everything is going to proc that. We're going to go with 3 in the recovery to give me 8% Magicka recovery, 4% reduced cost of magic abilities, and then it's going to give me spell resistance. The other 2 you're not going to use because they are 5-piece. Under the heavy armor, we're going to take everything. So this is going to give you 1800 armor. This is going to give you health recovery, which you don't care about. Which it sucks that it did nerf the big part of Constitution, but every 4 seconds you're going to get 500 magic and stamina. It's okay, but not as good as it used to. Juggernaut, 10% extra health. Wrath, this is cool also because as you're taking damage, this is going to stack up to 20 times, and it's going to give you 200 weapon and spell power, which is going to let your heals hit a little bit harder. Rapid Mending is awesome. Increase your healing received by 8%, and then increases your magic and stamina by heavy attacks by 25%. So this is awesome. So that's why heavy attacking on your back bar is not necessarily a bad thing. I take 1 point into Soul Lock just to keep my soul gems filled. Vampire, you're not going to care about any of the abilities. 10% recovery. This right here, you can bite somebody if you want. You don't need that though. This is amazing right here. I think all tanks need to be a vampire for the sole purpose. When you're under 50% health, you take 33% reduced damage. It's super amazing. Reduces the severity of your health recovery. It's whatever. Dark Stalker reduces the time that it takes to go into stealth. That's not really going to bother you too much. Let's take a break from that and let's go down here and get into this guy. Back out a little bit. So I'll taunt for you guys. So I taunt it, keeping down my abilities. Do apologize. I kind of can't tank and talk about what's going on at the same time without screwing everything up. Basically what I'm doing is I'm keeping my 2 AoEs down, keeping the shadow ability active, and I'm making sure that my shades stay out there at all times. It's really all that I'm doing. But I'll try to be more technical about what this rotation is and the ways that you want to do it in just a minute. I just kind of want a loot drop right here. Nothing good. Alright, back to my perch. Fighter's Guild. This is actually a good one to take. Banish the Wicked. Even though you don't have any Fighter's Guild abilities, you don't need one. This will give you 9 ultimate every time you kill an undead, Daedra, or werewolf. Well, just about everything that you're fighting in dungeons is Daedra or undead. So the ultimate regeneration from this is awesome. Undaunted, which I did, this was my old PvP character that I race changed over. So that's why I don't have my Undaunted passes, but you just want to fill in with all of these. And Inner Fire you could take if you feel like you need it, which I'll show you where to slide that in on your bar. So if you're gonna sacrifice something to keep Inner Fire back here. And the only thing that you would want to sacrifice would be Elemental Drain. You lose the recovery that you get from this. Now you could sacrifice a shield, but I really like using the shield. This seems to be about the easiest or safest bet. But your heavy attacks, so why would I want to spend 4k magic to taunt somebody instantly? And then get a little bit of magic back, but very minimal. This it just seems counterproductive to me to have a ability that costs magic to taunt versus I could just heavy attack to taunt. I could also just run around and stab him to taunt. I never understood why people want to use that. Now then again, I keep tight control over my ads. I do toggle between them when I'm taunting. So I can understand if some people just can't keep control over their ads. I can see why they would want to do that. Barrier. I do slot this every now and then. On some situations, I will get rid of Soul Siphon and I'll run Barrier. Just because it's instant, it's 20k, stops a lot of damage. It's a really good ultimate. But right now, I'm really enjoying the Soul Siphon myself. And also, you would want to take Magicka Aid. This will give you 10% Magicka recovery while that ability is slotted on your bar. Your passives for being an Argonian. This is what's up right here. So it's going to increase your max magic by 3%. You drink any potion, it's going to give you 4,600 health, magic, and stamina. Increases your max health by 9 more percent, gives you some resistances, and then also healing done and received is increased by 5%. That's freaking awesome. Resourceful, 4,600 health on any potion, or health, magicka, and stamina on any potion. The potions I'm using, which you could pick these up for stacks of 100 for, about 700 gold in the trader. Trash health potions. So I can just pop these whenever I want. I don't care about using them. They're so cheap. So this is a great way to keep your recovery up. So when you pop this trash health potion, it's going to give you 1,200, almost 1,300 magic. And it's going to give you 4.6, or excuse me, health. That's what I meant. It's going to give you 4.6 magic and stam. So just for popping this. So you can pop it for your own heal if you want. It's a pretty big heal. And then it's also going to help sustain your resources. So that's it for the skills portion of it. I did cover the inventory. Let me talk about the champion for just a second. And then we'll get into an actual rotation. Well, actually, I also need to show you the food. Like I said, this is an on-the-fly video. I just want to get a more in-depth feel for the build out there. I am using the Tri-Stat food. You want to stay at 15k. Let me show you. 15k stam, 30k magic, 33k health. There we go. So anything less than 15k stamina, and you're not really effective at blocking. Your stamina goes down too fast. Anything less than 30k magic, and your shields feel a bit weak. Your spells feel a bit weak. If you choose that you need, or if you feel that you need more magicka recovery, or if you run a second block cost reduction on your jewelry, then you run Witch Mother's Potent Brew. So that's going to give you health, magicka, and magic recovery. So that would offset you losing that magicka recovery glyph. It's going to reduce the cost of your blocking more, but you're going to lose stamina. So you're going to have to take away from your magicka pool. So bring your max magicka down to about 25k to keep your stamina at 15k. So under that setup, you would have 2 block cost reductions. You would run about 2,000 magic recovery with 25,000 magic and 15,000 stamina. Is how that would run if you chose to run that setup with your food. So champion trees, there are some things in here that are very specific. 10% or 9%, excuse me, break free cost reduction. There are fights when you need to break free and just make sure that they're cheaper and don't hurt your stamina that much. Heavy attack resource restore is increased by 8%. That's cool. 12% magic recovery is a must. So you need to have this. And then 100 into Shadow Ward for 25% block cost. These two are mandatory. The block cost and the recovery are mandatory. The other two, Warlord and Tenacity, fill those up how you please. Blue Tree, mandatory. 100 into Blessed. And I'm going to borderline call mandatory on physical weapon expert, because this increases what you're doing with your heavy attacks from your swords, which you could go with staff expert, seeing as how you are heavy attacking more with your staffs. But you want retaliation and repost is what you're looking for out of these. It's going to give you good damage or okay damage, and then it's also going to give you more damage when you block a heavy attack. Little bit of a buff. Elf board, 20% on crits. You're not going to crit a lot, but when you do, they do help for your heals, and just a little bit into elemental expert, just because you are putting out magic and ice. So a little bit there doesn't hurt. Mandatory on red tree. Okay. 20% into ironclad. This is going to reduce your damage you take from direct damage abilities, which most of the stuff you take in a dungeon will be a direct damage ability. I'm running 8 into, for this build to work the way I wanted to, I'm running 8 into spell wall and 16 into heavy armor focus to make my resistances equal. I just don't like having to take more damage from one effect than another. 5% into quick recovery. And then mandatory. So the only thing mandatory in red tree is the 56 into ironclad, but 10% into hardy, elemental defender, and thick skinned. Now, you could take away from recoveries and pump them up over here. Also, same thing with the heavy armor focus and your spell shield. You could pump these numbers up too if you need to. What was that? Outplayed. What's up, Outplayed? All right. Oh, I don't seem to have my peripherals attached to where I can respond and let these guys know. Let me see if I can get this to work. There we go. Okay. Don't just decline an invite without letting you guys know, because otherwise you don't get invites. So let these guys know. They just don't know that I'm making a video right now. So we covered our skills, covered our gear, covered our champions, covered the reason why we're wanting to run them. So now a few alternatives, like I said, we will get into. So, leeching strikes. If you put this right now, I can do all that I need to do on my front bar. On my back bar, you can shield, heavy attack, shield, heavy attack. Okay, this guy wants me to go. We'll go. We'll go and we'll show what's up. So I got aggro on the guy right now. I don't really care about the damage I'm taking. It's whatever. So, make sure we're buffed. Make sure we have a shadow ability down, like we just did. And then also your main one here, your Mirage. And then always keep your siphoning attack buff up. So this way here, you get a lot of static healing coming back in. Let me taunt this guy again, so that way these little guys don't die. So on your back bar, if you were controlling ads, you would keep your ice wall, you would keep your shadowy, your refreshing path down, and then heavy attack. Shield, heavy. Also keep your, what's it called? Keep your magic still ability up. And just keep moving around them. Because in this phase of the ad phase, you don't need to stay in one spot because you're not blocking. So you're reducing their movement speed. You're reducing their movement speed, so why not just keep moving? Don't let them touch you. And then just keep heavy attacking so that way you can keep different ads taunted towards you, because you'll have about half of the group taunted towards you. So on our boss fight bar, if we were fighting a boss, you would stab him with your pierce armor. Let me go ahead and get my buffs up. You stab him with your Pierce Armor for a taunt for 1. Keep an eye on the little broken shield icon under their name, so that lets you know when they're untaunted. Hit it just as it's falling off. And then always keep your shadow image or your shades up, because they are going to reduce the boss's damage that they deal. And then if you want, you can switch to the back bar, give yourself a little bit of relief from your stamina to cast your AoEs. Come back to your front bar, taunt, siphon, and then try not to recast your strikes too early, because you want that Magicka back from it. So we're going to taunt, siphon, shades for shits and giggles, back bar. We're going to do AoE, AoE, magic drain, back to the front bar. So it is able to permablock if you're doing that particular method. So when you're fighting a boss, like I said, you're just holding block. You hit them with the taunt, keep your shadow image on them, hit them with your siphoning, and then keep your leeching strikes up. So you can so let's see how long your leeching strikes holds for. Holds for 20 seconds. So when this gets down to about 6 seconds, let's go ahead and cast it and just go back up to our spot right here while we're waiting. How do I get back up there? Did I miss it? No, I didn't. So when this gets up to about 6 seconds, you go to your back bar. So you're going to put down 1 AoE, 2 AoE, do your buff. It procs, come back to your front bar, cast it. So that's when I know to go to the back bar. Is once it gets down to about the 6 second mark, I go to my back bar and I put down my 2 AoEs, cast my Mirage, back to the front bar, cast the ability. What did they just taunt? Of course. What's up, guys? So that's kind of the rotation I use on a boss fight. So on my front bar, I'll just actively spam my Swallow Soul, keep my taunt up, keep my shadow shades up. And then when I reach 6 seconds on my siphon, I go to back bar, AoE, AoE, Mirage, back to front bar, started off with my strikes again, and then go from there. Now you could do it at about 8 seconds. If you really want to try for it, you can do this at about 8 seconds, come to your back bar, hit your 2 abilities, come back to the front, and then once you get to about 1 second left, cast the ability. So it'll make the ability free, plus you'll get some stamina back. Now fighting trash, like I said, so all we're going to do, we're going to shield, AoE, AoE, kite. Kite and heavy. If you're starting to take a little bit of damage, you could shield, AoE, AoE, heavy. Now if I was hitting something, obviously my Magicka would be going up. So this is easy to do. If you need to keep them locked down, you could just stay if you need to. That's no problem at all. And then don't be afraid to cast these abilities or use your potions. Let's go ahead and waste down some Magicka. So I'm going to use a trash health potion. Look how much Magicka it gave me back. Just for casting a trash health potion. So where I like to use these at is if I make a mistake and I don't monitor my resources and I hit that ability and you just hear that chunk where you know you can't cast the ability no more. That sound right there. When you hear that, you know you done fucked up. So go ahead and just drink that regular potion. It's going to give you about 5k of your resources. Plus the time you wait in between, you're probably going to have one single recovery tick on both of them. That's going to let you know, okay, I hit the potion. I can cast that one ability that I need to. My next thing I need to do is a heavy attack or something about resource. Typically, it only happens whenever I'm watching with my stamina. So I'll get it down to about 10% and then I'll hit that, which will bring me back up to about 35-ish, 40-ish%. And then I'll shield up and then do a heavy attack if I need to, if my siphoning is not ready to go. Because sometimes, excuse me, sometimes I do over tank whenever I'm fighting a large group of ads. I do block a little bit more than what I should, but it's not like you have to. So hopefully I covered everything with this. I probably missed something because like I said, this is not scripted. This is just me talking, trying to get more information out there about this build. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, what do you run? What do you like to see from a tank? You know, let me know in the comment sections below, because the whole reason I'm doing this is because I've had about 4 people now mention, you know, a couple on YouTube, a couple on Beam. I've had a couple people mention that, hey, what type of passive are you using? Why would you use this skill over another? So no matter how I make these builds, there is always going to be somebody that does theirs differently, or somebody that feels like theirs would be better, which I'm not proclaiming mine is the best. This is just what's best for me and what I like. But I love to turn these videos into a conversation. It's what's up. You know, if you send me a message on YouTube, I am responding to you. You know, that's the cool thing I like about having a small channel where some people are watching, because you still get some views out there, you still get to interact with people, but you get to have that conversation. You get to be like, yo, what's up? You know, it's like a dude earlier, it's like, I run Bloodspawn. It's like, yo, Bloodspawn's a badass choice. You know, it gives you more armor and, whatchamacallit, gives you ultimate recovery. You know, it's like having that conversation with people in there. You know, it's like, hey, why would you use, you know, Ice Wall instead of Sap Essence? Well, you know, I use Ice Wall for ad control, and if I have a good healer, if I have a crap healer, or if I have a crap team, I'll use Sap Essence, you know, and we'll just get in the middle of it and just fight it out. You know, I'll taunt everything and just fight it out so that I can put some extra heals on the people. So you got flex, you got, you know, different ideas, different stuff you can move around. That's why I like talking with you guys. So yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know, guys. Hit me up in the comments below.